I used to be that girl. I used to be that girl who woke up at 5:30 in the morning, who did her meditation, her journaling, worked out, went to the office, and had that lifestyle that you see on Pinterest, Instagram, whatever. And that shit is just not healthy for you, and it's not sustainable long term, because I was not only that girl, but I was also the most tired that I have ever been in my entire life. And I'm not saying that that lifestyle did not bring me some benefits, because it did, but the pressure to maintain that lifestyle that was basically impossible to maintain if I wanted to do other things with my life is just... So I used to have that lifestyle, that girl lifestyle, while I was working at the startup that I was working for 2 years ago, before the pandemic started and everything. And my routine consisted of the following. Like, it's exactly what you see on Pinterest or TikTok or Instagram or whatever now. Woke up at 5. I think I started waking up 5 in the morning. I did a meditation for like 20 minutes, sometimes half an hour. I sat down, I wrote my gratitude list, my affirmations, sometimes even like my visualization, or I read a scripting exercise that I did every morning. By that time it was usually around 6 or almost 6, so it was my time to like get dressed and go to the gym or to a workout class or something like that before I had time to go to the office. And I remember also back then I worked out like 5 to 6 times a week. It was crazy. And I was also like a bit more, and I was also 14 kilos overweight, which was also like one of the reasons that I wanted to work out every day. And I remember I went to like boxing classes, I went to CrossFit, I did paddle surfing. So depending on the day I did like different activities to also kind of like make myself be motivated for that, because I'm the kind of person who gets bored after the same workout every day. And then after I finished my workout and got a shower and got dressed and everything, oh, and I also did cold showers, let's not forget the cold showers. After I did all of that, by 7:30 usually I was like dressed and put together. I used to also kind of like work on my side project that I wanted to, like, because I wanted to build a startup back then as well, for like an hour. And then I went to the office and worked from 9 in the morning till like 5 or 6 in the afternoon. The first thing that happened to me is that the moment I went into the office, I was like super energized and super happy because I did all these good things for me, because I'm not saying that those things are not good. Like, I also made myself a smoothie to bring into the office, or to drink on my way walking to the office or something like that. I ate healthy. I tried to like cut back on carbs. I also was like measuring what I was eating back then. I wasn't like a very unhealthy place when it came to like food and exercise. Because I was just obsessed with losing weight. And let me tell you, that routine did not work for me to lose weight, even though I was consuming way less calories than I should for my normal intake. But we're gonna get into that in a bit. But I went into the office, and I usually came into the office like super energized, super motivated, super this and that. And like for the first 2 hours, I was so productive. But then after like 11-12 p.m, the first thing that happened to me is like I started crashing. Like, even though I drank coffee, even though like I drank like, I even had the, what's it called? That super coffee, that bulletproof coffee. I tried like a lot of different things, but there was no way I wasn't crashing after like 2 hours into work, because I had been awake for like maybe 7 hours already, and I had done so many different things. So I kind of like dragged myself for the rest of the day. 6 o'clock came along, I finished work, and I was like, yes, I'm gonna be super productive now when I get home, and I'm gonna do this and work on my project, or read a book, or do a little bit of stretching in my house, yada yada yada. I could not do anything. And even on some days where people were like, oh, let's go get drinks or something like that, I would usually also like go to that to try to socialize a little bit, but I would just be so freaking tired all day long, because I was trying to do way too many things. So my afternoons were usually spent with me just like watching shows or things that required zero energy, because I could just not make myself do anything. But since I saw that lifestyle on Instagram, on TikTok, or everywhere else, I thought like, well, this is what I need to do. And if I'm not able to do all of these things, it means that I must be a failure. It means that I must not be able to do all of these things. Until I realized that maybe a lot of the people who actually have that lifestyle are people who like work for themselves, they set their own schedules, they're able to take a nap in between or things like that. Because the more I started investigating into like all of the girlies who do these things, they're usually influencers, they're usually people who don't have a job, they might have a boyfriend that works and they have the whole morning to themselves, or they work for like a few hours a day because they still live with their parents, etc, etc. So I realized like, okay, this is actually like not sustainable for you to do, you know? I have to say that I learned 2 important things from this. The first thing is that I feel like since I have led like a very chaotic lifestyle when I've been at home with my parents, because like our family situation is very chaotic. My nervous system was used to chaos, and I feel like forcing myself to still be under this big pressure of like maintaining that girl lifestyle or having that, but like cold showers and going around and running and being like, no, I need to be able to do this and this and this, like check all these things off my list. I feel like I was just perpetuating living under that stressful survival mode. And I feel like I'm not realizing that maybe I needed to sleep more, maybe I needed a bit more rest, because I honestly didn't sleep that much. I feel like I slept 6 hours a day because I tried to go to bed early, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't get myself to go to bed early. And I thought like, well, 6 hours is good. It's good enough. But I was tired like all the time. It was not good. So I feel like a part of us who try to go after this lifestyle, we might also be like high achievers who think, or who still like want to put ourselves underneath like all this pressure, thinking that that's going to bring something good. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. But then on the other side, I also want to say that my mental health was never as good as it was when I was leading this routine. Not like it was bad, because I was still putting pressure on myself and not allowing myself to heal and rest and do all of the things that I needed in order to heal. But on the flip side, I was also like spending a lot of time on myself, on my well-being, on doing like meditation, which is good for you, movement, which is good for you. The only way is that I was doing all these things in a toxic way, and that was the problem. So I found a way to kind of like bring these two together and take like all the benefits without anything bad of it. And that was the following. It's like, first thing, I worked out back then and to lose weight, and that's not the way or not the goal that you need to be working out. You need to find sports or workouts or something that actually make sense to you and that you enjoy doing. And back then I was doing CrossFit and this and this and this because I felt like those things are gonna get me ripped, were gonna get me skinny in like no time. And I was like, actually I just don't want to do these high intensity things. I'd rather just do like an intense yoga class maybe, or go for a run some days, or go or do this or do that. And the moment I started doing all these things, but like in a more intuitive way, I started seeing better results when it came to like losing weight and everything. And I also was happier, and I also listened to my body more when my body was like, you know what, maybe you just worked out 2 times this week, but that's enough for me. Like, I don't need more. Maybe I need more sleep because this week it was really stressful at work or something like that. And maybe what I changed is like, instead of working like 6-7 times a week, I ended up working out maybe 1 or 2 some days. It really depended. The thing is, like, I started just working out whenever I felt like working out and resting on the days where I felt like I wanted to rest. And I started sleeping more. Like, I started maybe some days even taking naps in between, and I realized that helped me relax so much, and it helped me also be in a better place. Am I saying that you should like completely dismiss that lifestyle? No, because I feel like having that routine of waking up at the same time every day really helped with my mental health, because I was like, then I tried to like do the complete opposite of like waking up whenever I felt like it afterwards. And even though I don't want to say that it's a good or a bad thing, I feel like for me, like some weeks or some days I will allow myself to do that, but some other times I feel like I need a bit more of a structure in my life, of like more maybe waking up at the same time or around the same hour every day to maintain some kind of structure. Not like a super rigid structure, because the thing is that like I used to have a very rigid structure in my home, and that's not something that worked for me. And I feel like as women specifically, it's like having rigid structures does not work well with our feminine energies. But I did find a way to kind of like have a more balanced approach to all of this. And also turn like all the things that I used to do like every day, of like, you need to do affirmations, you need to meditate, you need to do this and this and that. Instead of making those like things that you needed to do like non-negotiably every day, I just turned that into like, these are the things that are gonna make me feel good or gonna make me feel my best. So these are like, it's kind of like a cheat sheet of like, if you do things in this list, you're gonna feel good about yourself. But you don't need to do all of them every day. You can just do 1 or 2 or all of them or 5 of them or none of them, because maybe some days you just don't really connect with any of them. And to me, it's come to the point where like, I know if I can meditate every day, I will try to do that. But some days I will just not feel like meditating, or I will be like, okay, you know what? I don't really feel like sitting down and meditating, but I do feel like doing some kind of meditative practice, like washing the dishes while I'm just like present in the moment, and kind of like bridging that activity with something else so that I feel like I'm doing something in the sense. Or when it comes to gratitude is something that I do try to do every day. I love the idea of like sitting down and having that as something that I do while I drink my morning coffee or something like that, you know. So I feel like instead of living that lifestyle as a chore, it now has become an option and something that I'm doing for my well-being, because I feel like before I was like, I need to prove to myself, or I need to prove to the world, to Instagram or whatever, that I can lead this lifestyle and that I'm like the super, like I'm taking good care of myself. And it's like, that is not taking care of yourself. Like doing the things in a way that works for you is taking care of yourself. Listening to your body is taking care of yourself, and listening to what you need, because the same thing applies to the food that I was eating. Like I was counting carbs and macros and all of that, which is like something I do not recommend anyone doing ever. That's like the most toxic thing that you can do for yourself. And also judging that I was having cheat meals, or that I was eating a pizza, or that I was doing this or that. That's also not a good thing that you can do for yourself. And I'm sorry if I think my parents are in the background screaming. I'm sorry for that. But yeah, when it came to food, like I just also stopped labeling days of like, oh, today's like a cheat meal day, or just like forcing myself to have like one cheat meal a week and having it like on Saturdays or something like that, because maybe sometimes in the middle of the week on a Wednesday my body was like, you know what, I'm really craving like a big plate of like nachos with guacamole and like all of the things and everything. And I was like, allow yourself to enjoy these things, and like don't see this as a cheat meal, because like if your body is craving that, there is a reason why your body is craving that. Obviously, you can look into the whole like deficiencies that your body might have while it's craving like the unhealthy versions of certain things. But I feel like, I don't know, for example, the week before my period, I'm usually like, I become like a little gremlin who just wants to eat everything. And I usually allow myself to like eat all the junk food that I want, just because I feel like my body really enjoys that, and I do that. And then I will realize, like after a few days, my body will start craving greens and fruits and veggies and all of that, because my body just knows. And the moment I started also trusting that my body knows what it wants and what it needs, my body just started guiding me to eat healthy. So I feel like we live in a society where we are always encouraged to kind of like follow external advice, follow reliable people, follow people with PhDs in this and this and that. And that's not actually how it works. I feel like every human person is completely unique and individual, and our body usually knows best, because I've tried following like other people's routines, other people's nutrition guides, other people's whatever, and then there has not been one that works for me the same way the one that I set up for myself works for me. Like there might have been like little things here and there that I'm like, okay, maybe I'll take this and take this, but the rest of this doesn't really work for me. Which is why I feel like people should like always, like if you can follow other influencers, you can follow like nutritionists and gym coaches and whatever, but just always do that from the point of view of like, I'm just gonna see everything that you teach and I'm gonna take the things that work for me and not all of them. Because I feel like some people also take that approach when teaching, of like, take what works for you, but the rest just leave it there. But I think a lot of people, because of ego, try to kind of push everything on you, be like, no, you need to follow this to a T, because if not, it's not gonna work for you. If not, you're not gonna lose weight, because that's their way of manipulating people into buying their stuff and things like that. And that's just really sad. And we're not really taught that our body actually like has all the answers and all the information for everything. I've had friends who really knew what worked for them, who would be like, yeah, I woke up at like 5 in the morning because I like waking up super early, do all these things. But then from like 11 till 1 p.m. I take a really long nap. That time is the best time for me to just like rest, relax, and then in the afternoon I start doing things again. Me, for example, I've realized that I can wake up super early and be super productive in the morning, but after lunchtime, I'm useless. When it comes to like working and being productive for like work things, I'm just useless. And there's like low energy activities that I am able to do after lunch, for example, like editing videos or painting or this or that are still productive to my work, but they're not like high energy type of things. So I also started dividing myself in like high energy tasks that I need to do, low energy tasks, and kind of divide them depending on the time of the day, because I know what works best for me. And if there's one thing that you take away from this video, is please spend time with yourself, spend time with your body, and give it the authority that it has, because your body has authority. And the fact that someone else out there has a PhD or this or that is completely irrelevant to you if you know that your body is telling you like, don't have this. It's like when it comes to veganism, I feel like I see people arguing about this all the time of like, no, veganism is good for you, or people are like, no, veganism is bad for you. I think it's just that veganism works for some people and then it doesn't work for other people when it comes to like consumption of certain products. Like maybe some people need to consume red meat or some kind of like animal, and some other people's like veganism is kind of like the best fuel for them. And that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with either. Like, then it comes to the fact that we should all try to like not consume things that are mass produced. I feel like there's no right or wrong here. It's just like what works for you and you, for me and you. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next week.